Hi. So I'm Benjamin Mako Hill, and I'm going to talk a little bit about a project that I've been working on called Revealing Errors. So I'll start out with this quote up here, which is by Mark Wiesner, who is the sort of director of the computer science project at Xerox PARC for a long time. And he said that a good tool is an invisible tool. By invisible, I mean that the tool does not intrude on your consciousness. You focus on the task, not on the tool. Eyeglasses are a good tool. You look at the world, not the eyeglasses, right? He continued on and went to describe how Vim was a very good tool, which is kind of a very intuitive thing, just like eyeglasses. You hardly see it, which was a little bit funny. But in any case, I'm here to talk about sort of free and open source software. That's sort of what I spend my time and at this point most of my life working on. I'm a member of the Electronic Frontier Foundation and the board member for the Free Software Foundation, and work on Debian and Ubuntu, involved in a bunch of free and open source software projects. And I think a lot about the ways that the projects that we're doing, and I think a lot about the way that the organizations are trying to sort of spread the word and a message and sort of fight for freedom as it relates to technology. And one thing that's frustrated me for a long time is that if you look around the EFF or the FSF or organizations like this, it's populated almost entirely, exclusively by technologists, by people who use technology all the time. And I've thought of and I think that the reason is because technologists are, I guess unsurprisingly, more likely to care about freedom for technology because they're more likely to realize that technology is powerful now. If you think about it, the designers of technology have a huge amount of power over the users of their tools. If I design a technology, let's say it's a way to communicate with someone, to communicate with someone far away, and I want to, people who use it are going to be constrained by the features, by the design of that tool. If I create, if I'm trying to describe a sunset to my partner, my ability to communicate that will be constrained by the nature of the tool. If I've got a phone, I can describe it. If I've got a camera phone, I can describe it very differently, right? It's not that the designer of the tool is trying to constrain the person, but the nature of technology is that technology is designed and that its design allows people to say certain things, allows them not to say other things, to do certain things, to not do other things. Now, if technology is increasingly important in our life, if it's increasingly mediating our experience, then the ability to control that technology is the ability to experience the world. And the message of the free software of the free software movement, and also the point of the Electronic Frontier Foundation, is that control over that technology should be something that rests with the users of that technology. And it makes sense that the people who understand that technology is powerful tend to be technologists because they do it every day. They understand that that's exactly what's going on. Now, the rest of the people don't get it, in part because they don't understand this power, but more importantly because they don't see the technology itself. People don't think about technology in lots of places because when it works, it's essentially invisible. Now, the good news is that technology doesn't always work, right? Sometimes even those eyeglasses, right, with a crack on the eyeglasses or a smudge on the eyeglass, they become pretty visible indeed. And so the project that I'm working on is it's called Revealing Errors. And what I'm doing is I'm revealing errors. I'm using errors in technology to highlight the existence of technology, and through doing that, the power that technology has over what we use. Now I'll go through a couple examples that I think are sort of illustrative so you can see what I'm doing. All right, here's an ATM with a blue screen of death on it. Here's another one that says, I think this one says, you need to activate this copy of Windows, so this Windows isn't activated yet. And then if that's not clear enough, you can go down, this is the Microsoft sponsored event, here's the Microsoft logo right here on this crashed ATM here. Now who here has seen a crashed an ATM with a blue screen? So, who here tried to take a picture of it? There's still a few people. Well, if you look on the internet, if you go to Flickr and look for this, you can find hundreds of pictures of crashed ATMs, right? And they're not just by people that come to events like this, they're by normal people. And the reason is because people, when they see a crashed Windows on their ATM, they say, holy shit, my ATM runs Windows. I'm trusting my money to Windows. And it's important, and the point is that the ATM has always run Windows, right? Or it ran an operating system. Obviously, an ATM needs to run some operating system, but no one, and that choice of operating system matters, right? people have experienced data loss on their Windows machines. And the idea that that data loss might include the data that involves their money, whether it's grounded in fact or not, is an important thing that reaches people. People care that what operating system their ATM runs. They just don't think about it because it's a machine that sort of gives them money, right? In that sense, the fact that it's only when the ATM doesn't work that people start to think this way. This is the thought process. Does it matter what my technology does, right? Does it matter how my technology is built? The answer is, of course, that it does. But we have an opportunity to talk about this. I'll show one more. This one says, you can't read it up here, but it says, "Welcome to the found new hardware wizard." Right. So this is the person who installed the skimmer, the card skimmer on this machine, forgot to install the driver. So that's what they get. All right, I'll show one more before I end, because this is of course a short talk. This is an article that says homosexual eases into the 100 final at the Olympic trials. This is of course not a homosexual. This is in fact Tyson Gay. His last name happens to be Gay. Now this is from, and there's a script, a set of simple irregular expressions that we're going through and replaced every instance of gay with homosexual. Now this is running on a website called One News Now, which takes the AP News headlines and then sort of sanitizes them. This is run by the sort of evangelical Christian American Family Association. And the American Family Association wants people to use the term homosexual instead of gay because they think that homosexual sounds more clinical, that it sounds more pathological, that gay sounds almost fun, and we wouldn't want people to do that. So they go through and they change it. Now what's important is not that that they were doing this. They were always doing this, right? They've been running this script on their website for forever, for as long as it's been running, right? For years. And they've been replacing a lot more than just every instance of the word gay with homosexual. The point is that no one knew. There was an intermediary that was hidden, that was changing the nature of what the AP was producing and changing the nature of what people were reading. And only when it didn't work did we have an opportunity to even see that there was an intermediary there. So that's here's another example. There's more descriptions of homosexuals winning sprints, so on and so forth. So that's sort of a description of what I'm trying to do. I also think this is a good example because it reveals not only the fact that there was a hidden intermediary, it reveals the values of the people that create it, right? All of us, all technology developers have values, and when we build technologies, we put those into our systems, and often those are hidden and they're something people take for granted, but sometimes they become quite visible indeed. So I run a blog called Revealing Errors. It's, I hope, kind of funny because you get to read about errors and everyone likes learning about failure, but it also tries to unpack the meaning of some of these things and talk about what it can do. So please check it out. When you see errors around you, think about what it means, and if you have the time, send it to me and maybe I'll write it up. All right, thanks everyone.